This is issue 353 of Captain America, the second and final part of Refuge. We have another cover with some iffy vanishing points, but it is less distracting than the previous issue's one. Captain America is facing the Supreme Soviets. This team went through about a dozen names. They kept changing due to developments in real-world Russia. Most of these Russian characters are new and appearing for the first time in this issue, so there isn't much backstory I have to give, and only one of them has a tremendously long history. So let's get into a comic book here. The Soviet Super Soldier Boys, Russia's previous all-star superhero squadron, they were planning to defect to America due to displeasure with becoming the government's agents rather than champions of the people. The new team working for the government, the Supreme Soviets, they tracked them down in America and beat them into comas. What I love about this issue is Captain America in Russia. He goes to Russia to deliver the news about their former agents being half dead, and because he suspects Russian involvement in the attack on them. There are wonderful scenes with Captain America seeing this very different country and their reactions to him. I would be happy if the issue was entirely just Captain America in Russia and him being a bit shunned and feeling out of place and unwanted. It is really good stuff. A lot of people consider the title to fall off in quality when Steve Rogers returns as Captain America. Well, this story does show Marky Mark G still has things to write about with the character. Here is Steve Rogers stepping out of the shower. Yummy. Am I right, bitches? He sees this big ass shadow monster thing in the streets, and he leaves his hotel to try and fight it. We learn the Russians are spying on his stay. This is Phantasma, one of the Russian heroes from the cover. She is a sorceress. She is an illusion caster. They didn't do that much with her after this. She pops up once or twice with the rest of the team. But finally, in Black Star and the Winter Guardian, she returns in a big way. And there is a retcon where she is revealed to be something else all along. And it actually totally works. It seems to be built on this sequence when she appeared in an issue of Hulk. Nicely done. Captain America, he doesn't accomplish much battling this behemoth. And next we are given a great sequence with him and Captain Russia. Captain Russia has been given the task of being Captain America's chaperone, and so let us talk about him. This is a new version of Captain Russia. It is a new person in the costume. This is the third Captain Russia, or due to a retcon, coming within the space of a year, the fourth Captain Russia. Captain Russia dates back to the Silver Age. He was introduced in Avengers 43 with its classic cover showing AIM. He was created by Roger Thomas and Sal Buscema. That is John Buscema's brother. But he died at the end of that two-part story. It seems a waste of a character. A character that had a lot of great stuff going for him. He had a great design. He worked well as an analogue to Captain America. He had ties to Scarlett Johansson. It was a character that they should have kept around. And I think that we have spent years with dozens of Captain Russias testifies to that. Our second Captain Russia was a woman. She didn't use a shield like her predecessor. She was created by Steve Gerber and John Buscema. That is Sal Buscema's brother. And she joined the Defenders for a while, until Gary Conman wrote her out because he was scared of both her gender and her politics. Very, I have to go now, my own planet needs me. Then she was, well, this happened. And I still haven't finished that story. That brings us to this guy, our third Captain Russia. And realistically, this one should have been the last one. Keep this one around. Keep him alive. We didn't need another. We only needed someone to fill the costume. Anything else done with the character is a bonus. As I said before, I utterly love this bit with the two captains walking down the streets of Russia and the contrasting done between the two. It is my favourite scene of the issue. The Shadow Monster appears again, and now we get to see Captain America and Captain Russia in action together. So now, rather than focus on this action, I am going to let you know what happens to this version of Captain Russia. And again, it involves Kurt Busey sort of ruining something. He had the Russian team in his Iron Man run, and for no reason at all, he had this Captain Russia no longer be Captain Russia, but now have a new name and a new costume as Steel Guardian. Taking away the entire appeal of the character right there. And Steel Guardian never appeared again, except for a panel in Black Star and the Winter Guardian, where he was killed by the imposters from Among Us. You see, what Kurt Busey predictably didn't realise is that Captain Russia, especially this version, is not a character. Changing his identity removes the only thing that matters about him. Months after Kurt Busey made him Steel Guardian, we were introduced to a brand new Captain Russia in the underrated Top Gun series. That guy only made one more appearance, which brings us to the Michael Bryan Benson era of comics, where these sorts of characters are only fodder. Writers like him bring in the Russian heroes just to kill them off for shock value and to establish some stakes that they are unable to build with actual writing. It is lazy, cheap and shit. The mortality rate of the team is something that they do play with in Black Star and the Winter Guardian. Our story here concerns the shadow monster that is attacking Russia, and there is a conspiracy plot where they try to gaslight Captain fucking America that there is no such shadow monster because they didn't want an American to be seen saving the day. The rest of the Supreme Soviets, they are from left to right. Vostok, who is a robot. There is nothing else I can say about them. They never did much with them. We have Perrin, the Slavic god of thunder. That is my Taika Waititi impression there. Surprisingly, they never had Perrin, me, 4. And that is like planning 101. It is the most basic and obvious thing to do. Lastly is Rocket Red, who is the only character here that isn't new. This is the Rocket Red that was around for about a decade. They still replace him with a new one anyway. I won't bother getting into his history in this video. Captain America and the Supreme Soviets, they again face the Shadow Monster, and the monster seems to be targeting and only focused on the Supreme Soviets. It is not attacking Captain America or absorbing him the way that it is with the Russian heroes. So Captain America jumps inside of its body, and we learn that this monster is a construct being driven by the comatose minds of the would-be defectors. The construct, of course, being created by Black Star's subconscious, and its resemblance to a bear being Ursa Ring's subconscious. Captain America convinces the Gestalt mind to forego revenge against the Supreme Soviets, and all is now well in Russia land. Except for some of the politics. By talking down the shadow monster conscience, the comatose members of the Soviet Super Soldier Boys wake up. I would be happy if they ditched the generic monster threat and spent the entire thing exploring Captain America and his relationship with Russia and the Russian heroes. Very corny ending with him talking them down, but stuff like that is part and parcel of Captain America at times. 7 thumbs up. Perrin, thumbs up.